Hello, welcome back to It's New. I'm going to be talking about the Sundar Pichai and the Verge interview, which pretty interesting one, and maybe a little bit about AI overviews testing a new query expansion. Mordy, what do you got for us?
Some Monday motivation from Barry Schwartz.
Greg?
Triples is best, as Google search products has a third level overview with store pricing.
And a new.
Setting up enhanced conversions gets a new home.
Awesome. All right. So there was a pretty detailed interview by Nilay Patel at The Verge with Sundar Pichai. They do this annual, I think for the third year in a row, interviewing Sundar Pichai at Google I/O. And he asked a lot of questions that I think the SEO community would be very interested in. Specifically on Search Engine Roundtable, he basically hinted, or not really hinted, basically said like web publishing is not dead. He basically gives some interesting quotes. He said over the past 2 years or so, we saw 45% more content to index with our crawlers in the past 2 years. And he basically outright said it has nothing to do with AI or not fully related to AI. He also said when Nilay, who was complaining about The Verge, basically saying that if we would start The Verge today, we probably would just make like a YouTube channel or an Instagram channel and not like make a website. And Sundar was like, I'm not sure I fully agree with you. He basically said, I think if you would, start The Verge from scratch, you would make something amazing on the web. It's hard to quote him because it seemed like Sundar was pretty tired. It was like a full day of I/O, and he looks like he had the interview, and people were like, "Oh, he doesn't know what he's saying. He's stumbling." It was a long day probably for Sundar when he was interviewing, when he was answering those questions. So I don't think it was like stumbling. He said all the things he wanted to say, and then he kind of made a promise saying that in 5 years from now, you'll see a lot of traffic out of Google to the web. And then he even like dinged his competitors, basically saying, if you look at any of the other companies, the new emerging companies, they openly talk about it as something they're not going to do, meaning not going to send traffic to publishers. So it's a pretty interesting interview. He goes into the monetization stuff around agentic SEO or agentic search and adding that into the whole realm. So it's a big interview. I only covered a piece of it in my story, but it's definitely worth watching the whole thing, Morty. Not part of it.
Yeah. No, you know what? First, I watch it every year. I have a mental resistance, like I'm emotional to listening to him because I feel like what he's saying is just like not necessarily the truth for us. I think it's truth for I think he's speaking to the stock market, not to us, and I find it really annoying. But I did take, you can't remember, I had to take notes from your article and the Search Engine Land article about what I thought was important.
Is that, what type of notebook is that?
That is, it's a old Wix notebook, and I think that The Verge, I need new ones at the next conference because I'm almost out.
I have a recommendation.
Is it?
It's only going to cost
table?
you.
No, I want
it's only
free
cost you a few
one.
$100s.
Yeah, I don't have. Can I write it off?
Yeah, you own your own business. You can write it off.
Yeah. Oh, okay, fine. I'll take 20.
In any event,
I don't know.
Yeah, go ahead.
Like this is what he has to say to publishers and everything like that. Like, of course, if the Verge was redoing it, they wouldn't do a written format today. Like, of course you wouldn't. Like, he's like, I don't know about that. Like, no, you do.
It's interesting. I wonder if everybody who like reads my site probably thinks he's outright lying. I wonder.
You? No, we think you're telling the truth.
So I do wonder if he's thinking something that we're not seeing yet. I don't know. I mean, again, I'm hoping. I guess I'm hopeful of that. I don't know if I believe that necessarily, but I'm hopeful.
I don't think he's outright lying. I think he's just CEO talking. By the way, I do think I think The Verge is right. Like now I could say this. I do think CMSs are in for a little bit of a rough ride with websites, at least in the immediate future with all this stuff. Because right now The Verge wouldn't. I don't think it's really a good long-term strategy. But that's also part of the thing. Like, first off, there's a lot to read between the lines. Did he say like, there's more Google searches, but did he outright say, unless I missed it, I didn't see any of the write-ups, unless I missed it, that we are sending more traffic to websites? He said there are more searches on Google. That's not the same thing.
So there's 45% more content on the web.
Yeah, yes, but also that's also a nuance. I actually have data of this SMX. The number of newly ranked domains has gone down each year. And I'm tracking it since 2020, so every year, just down. So newer ones having a hard time ranking.
He was definitely dodging a lot of questions. Remember, he was pestering him about the Safari searches, and he's like, "Sorry, Safari searches are down, right?" He's like, "We see searches overall up. What about Safari?" He's like, "What about specifically Safari?" He's like,
"It's down."
He wouldn't say
it. It's down. Like just answer, like, it's down, but oh, guess what? Our Google app is doing phenomenal.
Yeah, no,
That's where they don't do themselves a favor. Just say the web is going to have to adjust and figure this out. This is a new technology. Where it's at now, it's not where it's going to end up. Traffic will, for the sake of the vitality of the web, be a thing. Otherwise, the web won't really exist anymore. Neither will LLMs. So we'll figure it out. It's a new thing. But you can't say that if you're the CEO. So I get you can't say that. But I also feel you might as well just, everyone knows it. So you might as well just say the truth.
Yeah. Anyway, if Google wants more searches, they'll probably get them. Well, not technically searches, but AI Overview is testing a new query expansion tab, which doesn't really generate a new search. It just generates a new AI Overview, which I'm sure Google's counting as a new search anyway. So that was spotted by Sachin Patel. So nice find there. Mordy, are you scared?
Yeah. So I'm always a little terrified. I wake up in the morning. I think about I'm like, oh boy, got to do this again every day. So I'm the wrong person to ask.
Okay.
Yeah.
Let's ask.
No. Am I scared? No. I pivoted, as Barry said in his video. So okay. So first off, there was a poll by Joe Youngblood, and he asked her, "How do you feel about Google AI replacing search in the near future?" Excited, 15%. Kind of okay, 5.5%. Meh. That's a good answer. 34.8%, which I know I didn't say 35 for that one. And scared out of my mind, 45% of people. It's mostly SEO people, I'm assuming, because that's his audience, and that's whatever. Barry, the one you're looking at right now, did a video on last week, Wednesday, Thursday?
Friday, I think, right?
It's all
Thursday, Friday?
Friday.
It's all one day. You released 2 videos that day, so it's hard to keep track of. Yeah.
Apologize.
Sorry. A lot of content. And Barry does a whole video about going through all that. At the end of he talks about what it means for SEO. And the end, Barry talks about, like, if he knows one thing about SEOs, they're a bunch of jerks. No, sorry. He didn't say that. He said, if he knows one thing about SEOs, they're good at adapting. Also, first off, Barry talked a lot about brand in there, so thank you. And I also felt you were talking to me. SEOs will adapt and move and pivot. Thanks, Barry. Thanks for seeing me.
Yeah.
Great video.
Yeah,
those
I really
45.
like that video, especially for the fact that literally as recently as like Friday or Thursday, somebody like in the PPC Live SEO chat was like, "Oh, I heard that SEO is dead. What do you guys think?" And I was like, "I'm not answering this question. What nonsense is this? Like, what are people saying still?"
But Barry was actually positive, which was, I thought, the best part of the video, to be honest with you.
But the 44.9 people that are, or percent of people that are scared out of their minds should go watch that video and get a dose of reality.
Right. It all depends on how you define SEO, I guess. And if you're going to keep doing what you're doing, then you're screwed. Otherwise, you're good to go. So Morty is not scared because he is pivoting. He's the definition of a pivot.
I mean, no, it's scary. Like, first off, I want to, like, I posted the other day on like LinkedIn, like, there's so many quote unquote market corrections that definitely need to happen at a certain point, that where this is now is not where this is going to end up in a year, 2 year, whatever it is from now. So the hype cycles end at a certain point. You already see it. All right, the hype cycle on AI is ended. Now it's agentic AI. Here, take my credit card and buy things from me across the internet.
Right. And talking about buying things across the internet, I think we got a little bit of a step
It's
up.
easier now, Barry. It's easier thanks to a new, I call this sort of like a overlay, like a light box feature that shows up now when you are searching on some products. It's the right panel product viewer. And if you click on 3 dots next to the retailer, another panel pops up. Barry has a nice GIF of this, and you can see the exact merchant at the top with the ratings and all that, and payments accepted. I know that's something that Merchant Center is really pushing people to do, especially with some of the returns, and you can kind of see why. If you did have a Merchant Center account, you sort of like Google forced you to put those few things in. And now we saw those kind of changing in the SERPs, and then also being used in this light box type setting here. One thing you can do is you can buy it now. I don't really know how that works, or you can visit the site, but there's also a price history. And the example that Barry had was for a Maytag washer, and it was $948 today, but back in April, it was $875. So it's like an extra $75 more in May. And I just wonder, like, that's great for the consumer, but is that going to like hinder conversion? If you're like, oh, this isn't here now. And then the thing I thought would be cool to go along with the price history is Google talked at GML or IO, one of the two, about doing some of those price drops. And I didn't see that here. And I thought that would have been a cool feature to put in here. If you do have the history and then you want to see a price drop, that would make a ton of sense to me.
Yeah, I guess that's still coming out. But yeah, if you want to track those conversions, I think there's a new GTM tag.
Yes, there is. It's quite a bit of a minor update because you can still track, but basically if you like in the main like tag configuration that you're used to and you're like, oh my God, I can't do enhanced conversions anymore. Don't worry. It's actually more now in a drop down box in GTM where like, yeah, you do user generated data in there. And then, yeah, from there you can, that's a dedicated tag specifically for enhanced conversions for Google Ads. So that has moved. It's not gone away completely. So people shouldn't panic for that.
Exciting. All right, cool. Thanks everybody for being here. We're back tomorrow with Mord's news. Everyone have a great day. Speak to you later. Bye-bye.
Bye.
Bye.
Bye.